Hi NARC troopers. Today we're going to have a little quick discussion about what is happening in the world and how that relates to narcissistic abuse and narcissistic abuse recovery. Let me begin by saying, clearly something's going on, right? Clearly there's something happening in the world that is a historical, epic event. Because we don't just have a pandemic, we also have so many other things happening right now, from climate change induced extreme weather to riots and social unrest, like all kinds of movements for different groups that feel marginalized and objectified. We have daily murders with guns. There's quite a bit of terrible stuff happening, like what happened in Afghanistan. These things are not okay, right? We all agree that these world events all point to something that's not quite right, something that's really not right. And as a result of all of that, we have to ask ourselves, where do we fit into this picture in this very extreme version of global events, right? Some people are scared, some are concerned, some are just sad, some are faithful and excited or hopeful. Some people think this is the apocalypse. There's different schools of thought on what's actually happening. Some people believe it's a shift in consciousness, that we're evolving to the next level. I know some millennials who believe that, this is a transformation because we're shifting to the fifth dimension from the third dimension or something like that. The whole theory about multiverse and multiple parallel universes that stretch on to infinity, and that all of that theory, and some people think it's the end of the world. Other people think it's just a dark time in history that will probably survive. But I think that all things point to a reality, and that reality is that many of these events are not survivable. That's the first thing I would like to point out. Like climate change, when all of the, polar ice caps have melted and sea levels have risen, and climate change has caused, tsunamis and floods and fires, and the, what will follow will be food insecurity. We will not be able to feed the billions of people, over 8 billion people and growing rapidly. We're not going to be able to feed all those people because of climate change, because of the events. The ocean is dying at a rapid rate. Coral reef is disappearing. The balance of all things is disrupted right now. In a way, it's not just going to correct itself. It's going to require some drastic human intervention that is missing. It's absent. People are busy doing something else, or they're in denial, or whatever. They're arguing about vaccinations on Facebook. I don't know what they're doing that's more important, but they're not taking action in the areas that need it. Now, here comes my number 2 point, and here's the biggie, 2.0. This is no secret. I think you already know this, but I'm going to tell you in case you don't. The whole cluster B, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, are everywhere, right? They're everywhere. They're running things. They're in the government. They are CEOs of all the top corporations. If you believe in all the stuff about the cabal and the wealthiest people and their conspiracies for, population reduction, let's call it, all these groups of people who have power, who are running things, making the rules by which the other rest of us play, I'm going to just say they're either have narcissistic personality disorder, they're either sociopaths, or they're psychopaths. Not all of them, but an increasingly alarming number, so that maybe in these positions of power and politics, there's maybe more of them than not. Maybe they're a psychopathic narcissist. You know, there is such a thing. It's a narcissist who's also a psychopath. There's all kinds of fun combinations. So while we're talking about being woke and about ascending to the next level, you know, that we're going to up level to some other dimension of consciousness or whatever, these people are running the show. How is that possible? How did we create all of these people that are, here's what they have in common. I'll just tell you, here's what they have in common. They lack empathy. They do not give a F you know what for anybody but themselves. They lack the compassion to feel other people's pain and suffering. They just don't. When other people suffer, they're thinking, okay, well, that's them. It's not me. I'm glad it's them and not me. I don't care. I don't feel a thing. They may have some kind of cognitive compassion, empathy. Cognitive empathy is what it's called, where they know what they're supposed to feel, but they don't feel it, so they fake it. And they look like they're like, oh, so sorry, and oh, I feel so bad. No, they don't. If they did feel so bad, they would do something different. If they're billionaires, they would do something to solve some of the problems that are facing us. They have the money to be game changers. They have the money to be problem solvers, these 1%, but they're not doing it. And then you have like the people that are the politicians. If they really cared about human suffering, they would make legislation to end it in a variety of ways. There are so many things that could be done that are not being done because I believe that it's because they have no empathy. And that's the hallmark number one quality, is that they truly don't care about other people's suffering. They don't feel bad because you feel bad. They don't hurt when you hurt. They don't bleed when you bleed. So what do we do when we're in a world that's run by people with no empathy? They also have no morals. They have very muddy and blurred definitions of conscience and morality. Their moral compass is broken, right? Their moral compass is broken. It doesn't work. They don't want to think about good and bad, good and evil, virtue and evil and sin. You know, most of them don't believe in God, don't believe in any higher power, no source, no spirit, no, divine being. They just don't believe it. My ex-psychopathic narcissist husband told me in the end, because for years we went to church and held hands and said our prayers every night and did all that. But in the end, towards the very end, he said, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in any God, your God or any God. I don't believe in right or wrong or morals or sin and virtue and evil and all of that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in life after death. I don't believe in soulmates and twin flames. I don't believe that we've had other lives before this one or that we're going to have any more after this one. He said, I don't believe in any of that stuff. And it's like, wow, okay, obviously you have no morals. You can totally crush people and hurt them and never lose a moment's sleep. You can do criminal things that are, incestuous or just heinous things that are unspeakable. I can't tell you. But that he could do those things and not feel bad about them. Never any guilt, no remorse, no conscience. I'm going to say that again. These people that are in cluster B, not all cluster B, I'm not talking about people who are histrionic or bipolar. I'm talking narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. I don't even know why the other ones are in the cluster B category, because they don't share that much in common with the three that I mentioned. The psychopaths, the sociopaths, the narcissists, those folks, no consciousness, no sense of guilt, no sense of accountability or responsibility, no remorse. They don't feel bad about what they did. That would mean that they're not perfect, and their egos are big, fat egos that they can't get around them. They can't maneuver around them because they're always walking around with their big fat ego in their hand, waving it around for people to see. They feel no mercy for people that they hurt or that are hurting. So when you have a world that's run by people who have those qualities, no empathy, no guilt or remorse, no mercy, no compassion, no morals, what do you think you're going to get? And what do you think is going to happen when those guys are running things? Are they going to do anything for the greater good of people as a whole? Are they going to do anything to help save the world from disaster? No, they're trying to colonize space so they can go live up there with their billions of dollars and leave you behind. You're going to be here on Earth starving and disease-plagued and war-torn, and they're going to be in space, planting their flags and colonizing all this new frontier. And, we wrecked this world, so let's just forget about that. We've got the money to go to a new one. That's narcissistic thinking. That's sociopathic, psychopathic thinking, instead of spending the money to help mankind be better. So I want to say, be careful. There are people, there are wolves in sheep's clothing who will come to you and say, we're the light bearers, we are the light workers, we're going to help you, redo your energy and get things tuned into the right vibration and all this metaphysical hippy-dippy shit. They may say that, but if they're not using that for love, and if they're not using it through God, channeling this, these things, these messages, these things that they want to say to the planet or do for the planet, if it's not coming from God, where do you think it's coming from, folks? Yeah. If it's not coming from God, it's coming from the dark side. Because if you believe in God, you have to believe in the other ones, right? The dark angels, the Lucifer, the demons, the legions of beastie things from hell. You have to believe in that. You may not believe that hell is actually lakes of fire and a destination. You may not believe that heaven is pearly gates and streets of gold. Those could be metaphors, not literal descriptions. But you do have to believe in the power of goodness and the power of evil in this world, because there is clearly both. There's clearly forces of good and forces of evil. And you, my dear friends, are going to have to choose a team for the days that come. Because we're all called to do something. I pray about it all the time. And I tell God, I'm ready. Show me what you want me to do. There's a reason why I was married and with this narcissistic, psychopathic man, my husband, that was so dysregulated for 16 years, 15 years married. There was a reason for that. I need to know what that is. How can I use what I learned, those lessons, that wisdom? How can I use that to help other people not suffer, to help ease their suffering, to help guide them to the light? Not in some weird, I'm going to do spells and magic kind of, I'm really a demon, but I'm going to present myself as a light, like Lucifer means light bearer. Not in that way. But in a God loves you open up and feel the love of God and let him heal you and direct you kind of way. Even if you haven't been that religious, maybe now look around you. Don't you think something's going on and that maybe it might be time to rethink that? Maybe it might be time to spend a few quiet moments asking him, her, it, whatever gender pronoun you want to ascribe to God. Maybe you should have a conversation with God. Maybe you should ask God to send you some answers. Ask God some questions and listen for what he says. She says, it says. Listen for the answer. And make sure that it is rooted in love, in your love for humanity, and in your love for yourself. You have to love yourself, right? You're one of God's children. He doesn't want you to hate yourself, to have self-loathing and self-doubt and self-sabotaging. I think God wants to see you be as magnificent as you can be and serve God by spreading love as much as you can. Love is the most powerful thing in the cosmos. Love is the most powerful thing that exists. Love is healing. Love is forgiving. Love is purifying. Love is strengthening and empowering. Love is everything. It's everything. That's the answer to all of this that's happening. Now, if you get some clarification from God on how to express that love to your fellow humans, how to express that love to yourself, then you are going to be on your way to freeing yourself from the binds, from the chains, from the things that hold you and tether you to that sick person who is the narcissist, the sociopath, or the psychopath. It is so hard to let go of them. They're like a drug. You're addicted to them. You're trauma bonded to them. There's this whole neurochemical brain thing happening to you when you're trying to get away from them. But they are not a source of love. They don't love themselves. They don't love you. They don't know what love is. I'll say that again. They don't love themselves. They don't love you. They have never loved anyone. They're never gonna love anyone. They don't feel God's love. They don't believe in God's love. There's the word love and narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath do not exist in the same place, in the same book, on the same page, in the same dimension, in the same reality. They don't. You cannot be a person filled with love and light and God and spirit and source. You can't be that person and be attached to your narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath. You can't. You have to let them go. For the first year of my recovery, and I am 2 months past 2 years, 2 years and 2 months from when I was discarded. And I will say, for the first year, I didn't see it this way. When people told me, this is happening so you can grow closer to God. He wants your attention. This relationship with your God. You need to make God your God. And they would say that, and I would get so angry. I would say, no, I didn't ask God to do this. I want my marriage back. I want that life I had back with my husband. I want him back with all his stinky, crazy, deceptive, weird, did I say creepy? Let me say that again. Creepiness. I missed him. I didn't know who I was without him because he had been the center of my universe for 16 years at the expense of everyone and everything. Yes, I was toxically addicted and attached to a very sick and dysregulated person. And I did not want to think about how I needed to let all of it go and replace it with God. It was like, no, I was so resistant. No, I want it back. No, I miss it. No, I need him. No, that life was filled with such bliss sometimes, like a drug, like when you shoot up heroin in your eyeballs, it's filled with such bliss sometimes. Well, it's been 2 years and 2 months, and I can tell you my attitude has changed. Instead of trying to reclaim what I lost, or instead of trying to find someone else to replace him with who can also give me the same thing, I'll just find somebody else who can do that. You can't. The answer is you have to love, really love yourself. You have to love, really love your children, your family. You have to love, really love, and this is most important of all, you have to love God. God Almighty, God our Father, Holy Father in heaven. Or whatever your understanding is. Maybe he's not in heaven. Maybe he's not a he. Maybe God is just this androgynous energy force that is all around us, in the trees, in the wind, in the ocean. Maybe that's how you experience God. He's not some spectator sitting on a cloud. It doesn't matter how you perceive God. What matters is that you begin a conversation with God. You open yourself to receive him and ask, what do you want me to do? Give me the way to do it so I can do whatever it is you want me to do. I surrender. I submit. So whether you're like a surfer and your experience with God is going out on those waves and feeling him, this feeling of something bigger than you, something powerful and omniscient, wrapping around you and flowing through you, that's God, that's love. That's oneness with his creation, the sea. Yep. It doesn't have to be some one weird definition that everybody ascribes to. It can be how you experience God. It could just be so many different things. God is in a baby's face that looks up to you and smiles. God is in my cat that comes up and purrs and makes biscuits on me every night. God is around us. God is within us. God is among us. And I don't think you're ever going to be free from your narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath without submitting to a belief in some higher power, whatever you want to call him. Jehovah, Allah, God, Source, Spirit. Your understanding of what God is, and knowing that it is rooted in love. Has to be rooted in love, not masquerading as something else, pretending to be all good and yummy, but really at the core foundation, systemically at the root, it has to be rooted in love. Love for yourself, love for all people, even if they don't agree with you, even if they are frustratingly face down in the Kool-Aid, even if you don't like them, even if you are so different from them, you can't find any way to connect with them or to empathize with them really, because they're so different. It doesn't matter. You have to love them, all of them, the homeless guys, the drug addicts, the refugees, the anti-vaxxers, the vaxxers, the whatever. You have to love them all. All, with no exception. Now, one final word. If the world is surrounded by narcissists and run by narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths. And if it's a growing phenomena, and we celebrate these people with their psychopathy and their narcissism and say, oh yeah, you go. We're going to buy a little red hat and follow you around forever like lemmings right off the cliff. Whatever it is that you're thinking that you're going to just, buy that hook, line, and sinker and jump on board with it. The important thing is that you recognize what these people are and that they don't care about you. They don't care about your suffering, and they don't care about anyone else. They don't feel guilty when they turn their back and leave you dying in the streets. Let's get rid of these people and put some people in power. Maybe some women. That's an idea. Maybe some women. But whoever it is, let's put the people in power who are capable of love, and it is their guiding principle. Love for all people, all sizes, shapes, colors, whatever, all flavors of people, and all things. Yeah. Let's get those people to run things, not the ones that we have now that are self-serving, narcissistic psychopaths. It's not working very well with everything being monetized, everything being privatized. And we have to wake up and realize this, that we're going to have a paradigm shift or we will perish. Paradigm shift or perish. So maybe you're trying to shift to your fifth dimension. Maybe you're ready to ascend to some higher consciousness. Yeah. That's all fine and good. But at the end of the day, let's get rid of the narcissistic psychopaths who are running things, and let's practice the doctrine of love for everything, for everyone, all the time. And let's talk to our Creator. Let's talk to that higher power. Start a conversation with them and ask them, what can I do to help others and to help myself to be more filled with love, ruled by love, guided and governed by love. Yeah. I think that that's it. It's much harder to do what I'm asking you to do than it sounds. But what choice do we have? Look where things are headed, right? You must admit, if we don't slam on the brakes and turn around, what's in front of us is not going to be good. All right, that's my thoughts for today, troopers. I'm updating my website in the next week, and so there's going to be goodies on there. I invite you to go and find those goodies at narctroopers.com. And let's try to raise our awareness, our consciousness, and be the lovely people that I know we can be. Peace out. Much love. Bye.